You're very welcome. It's wonderful to have you all with us. Well, I want to welcome you virtually, which is how we're doing it today. And the reason we're doing this is normally we would be accepting TY students to the hotel during this time of the year, where they'd come in and do 1 or 2 weeks of work experience and get an insight into the hotel industry and the various roles and jobs that are involved. And we've always saw that it was a wonderful idea and a great opportunity to give you a chance to maybe consider this as an industry that you might be interested in joining for the future. So firstly, I want to thank the teachers. I want to thank all you, the transition year students. I want to thank Sharon, who I'll introduce in a second, Sarah from the Shannon College of Hotel Management, who have set this up with us, and all the rest of the team, both from the hotel here and everybody else involved. Secondly, then I want to just say that I want to introduce Sharon Noonan, who's going to act as our MC, and she will help us introduce all the team that we have, because we have some real life examples here in Yolanda and Clodagh, who are students from Shannon Hotel Management College, and they're going to give you an outline of their experiences of why they went to Shannon, what it was like in Shannon, and what the outcome was afterwards with the international experience and all the opportunities that became available to them. Clodagh will then also do a mocktail for you, and she'll give a demonstration on that. And Sharon will then do an interview with myself. So you're all very welcome, and I'll now hand you over to Sharon.
Thanks a million, Louie. It's great to be here today. Unfortunately, it's a number of years since I was your age, everybody's age in the audience, but I definitely would have loved to have had an opportunity like this, where I got a real insight into all the different career options that are available in the hospitality industry. I think it's probably one of the most exciting industries to be working in, given all the different opportunities that are in it. And today is such an invaluable chance for you to put questions to the people that we have on the call. So Louie, in his capacity as the proprietor of the Dunraven Arms Hotel in Adare, and also then Clodagh and Yolanda, who are graduates or students at Shannon College and also are working in the Dunraven at the moment and have worked in various different places across the world because of their studies there at Shannon. So I would encourage you all to use the chat. If you're in a school, a classroom environment, maybe say to the teacher, look, will you put this question into the chat, please? And the teacher can put it in, and then I'll keep an eye out for them coming in, and I can put them to whoever I'm talking to at the time. So do please make the most of the next hour to get some really invaluable information for yourselves. And of course, who better to start with whenever we're finding out about the hospitality industry than to talk to Louie himself in his role as the owner of the Dunraven Arms Hotel, who I'm sure you're all very familiar with. You can't miss it. It's there on the main street in Adare as you come from the Limerick side, on the right hand side, an old coaching inn. So it's one of the beautiful historic hotels that we have in West Limerick, and it has so many stories. If the walls could talk, Louie, I'm sure our ears would be full of fantastic stories.
Absolutely. It's great to have you all here. We're a very old hotel. We were built in 1792. We have 80 bedrooms in the hotel, extensive conference and banqueting, leisure centre, and 90 bedrooms. And we have a wonderful team working with us. We would have about 80 to 90 full-time staff, and again, 40 to 50 part-time staff that would work with us throughout the year. And we have people from ages of, TY students normally would be 16, 17, but most of our team would be 18 years and upwards, going up to the older generation like myself.
Well, you said it now, Louie, you're the older generation, and I want to take you back to whenever you were 16 or 17. Was hospitality something that you knew from an early age that you wanted to get into?
Well, it was. Just very briefly, my grandmother owned a hotel in Athenry. I'm from Athenry, County Galway, and my mom worked in the hotel when she was young, so it was in the blood. I came to Adare in 1990, and it was my brother Brian that brought me here. But just as in context of the TY students, when I was 14, 15 and 16, I came down and worked with Brian here in the hotel. Funny enough, my first position was in the pot wash, which was a bit daunting to begin with, but I think my brother was just doing that to keep me quiet. But I loved it. And I spent every summer down here with Brian. And then when I went to Shannon College, I worked every weekend here at the hotel. I used to thumb out. They were the days when we thumbed, and I would thumb from Shannon College to the Dunraven in Adare. And it was a daunting task at times, believe me.
And you're talking about the pot wash there. So normally in transition year, the students would be going out to get experience. So if a student went in to the Dunraven now to do work experience, would they start at the pot wash and work their way up, or what way?
No, we will spare students the pot wash. No, we don't put TY students in the pot wash. We don't tend to put them in the kitchen either, but we do tend to put them in the restaurant, in the bar, doing setup in the bar. We won't put you directly on service. So I don't want to frighten any TY students. You won't be involved in service. You're too young at this stage, but you will be assisting. You will be setting up the banquets. You will be helping in housekeeping. You'll be helping in the restaurant, on the bar. And TY experience is a bit of fun. It's not laborious, it's not hard work. It's we bring you in, you have a bit of fun, you meet and greet all the other team, and we show you what's involved in the business. And we show you the fun that's involved, and you get an idea of the potential careers that are there for you into the future.
I think many of them will find that very reassuring, that it's fun and you don't throw them in at the deep end. No. Because if they don't have a background in hospitality, like some of them may have grown up in bars, or their parents might have B&Bs, for example, but somebody that's coming out of a house that might not have any parents in hospitality and have no direct experience, it might be a bit daunting for them. However, I think the students watching today would be very surprised about what skills they have accumulated already that you would be very interested in hearing about if they came into you for an interview at 16 years of age.
Yeah, well, when we interview students, it's amazing when you talk to them and you say, what experience have you got? And they'll invariably say no. But you TY students, you don't know it, but you have an awful lot of experience already. And these are things that you do at home and you don't realize it. You know, some people will come from farming backgrounds where they will work cooking in the kitchen with mum, or you don't have to have farming background for that, but they work on the farm and they're doing various jobs. You talk to students and they work in the schools, they work with Angashka, they work with the GA clubs, and they work on a host of various items that they don't give themselves credit for. And all you TY students have done something and you don't realize it. And what we try and do when you come with us then is we just highlight that a bit more. We'll help you to progress that little bit with learning basic skills. I always joke with the students that you go home now and set up the table for mom and dad and the family tonight, or go home and do the hoovering, or the students that work in housekeeping, they'll be taught how to make beds, etc. And we have a joke about go home and make the beds. I'm not sure how many of them do that, but that's some of the things that they'll pick up when they're with us.
Yeah, so they have a whole range of skills already that they may not be aware of, and that's something that they can be thinking about regardless of what career they decide to pursue, just to make a note of those skills, to have them on a very basic CV at this stage. And I think in hospitality, interpersonal skills is probably something that's really important. And last night you were on the radio with me last night on West Limerick 102, and we were talking about various different subjects, and diplomacy is probably another skill that's very important. And in fact, I received a text during the radio show last night from somebody that said, I would often go to the Dunraven for my Sunday lunch, and Louie Murphy tells me all the time that I am his best customer. However, I would imagine he tells that to all his customers. So interpersonal skills, being very diplomatic, there's lots of skills that you'll actually get there whenever you are working, especially in a bar environment, for example, because, you know, unfortunately, you may come across the odd particular customer or difficult customer in a bar situation after they've had a few drinks. So those skills are not only of great use for the hospitality industry, but also lots of other industries.
Yes, I agree. Also for the TY students to remember that when you come and work in the hotels, be it as a TY, but we try and encourage you to come back to us, okay? And you'll gain valuable bar and restaurant experience. And remember, all of you, that these, you might necessarily go into the hotel industry, but these skills you will use in the future. Some of you will take gap years after college and you go to Australia or Canada. My own son went to Canada, and you'll bring these skills with you. And when you go on these gap years and whatever, you'll all look for jobs. And you look at the students who go to Australia, they invariably end up working in bars, they end up working in restaurants, etc. So when you come in and work with us and learn in hotels around the country, you will gain valuable experience that will be so useful when you're looking for a job in these countries. And as I said, you might be doing medicine, engineering, whatever, but these skills you've learned in the hotels will come to the fore. The second thing is, as you mentioned there about the skills, we have a lot of TY students. You know, human nature is you get students and you get people like us that are outgoing, and you get people that are shy, etc. It is wonderful experience for you, for your development for the future, is you'll come in and the confidence you gain by working with fellow staff members, by working with guests into the future. When you gain a hotel experience, that will stand to you for the future. And even a simple thing like coming into a hotel and doing an interview with my co-worker and co-owner of the hotel, Louie Murphy. We teach them at the interviews. We teach them when they come in working in the hotel. All those skills will be so valuable to you in future careers and when you go for interviews in the future. So I'm saying to you all, it's a win-win situation. Go and get experience in hotels and in shops and in various other businesses, because they will stand to you in the future.
It sounds like you have very specific training programs in the hotel, like set formulas of how you educate not only students that will come in, but your new staff, for example, that, as I said before, people aren't thrown in at the deep end, maybe compared to a number of years ago, whenever you went in. Like, I remember my first real job, sitting down in front of a computer and thinking, I don't know how to turn this on. There was nobody there to teach me how to do it. So these days, the guidance and the support from employers, from professional bodies, it's just fantastic that all of those resources exist.
Absolutely, they do. But remember, there's still great fun, and it's still great fun in working in the industry. I remember going into a kitchen in earlier days. Now, I wasn't TY, I was past that, but I remember going into a kitchen and they tried to pull my wool over the eyes, and they put a big bag of flour in front of me and said, "Chop that." So there is great fun in the business, and we do kick a laugh out of it, and all the time. And it's very important we have a laugh, and our guests love a laugh, and we love a laugh. But it's the training we have with our people who start full-time with us is we have a very good induction program, and we will not throw people in at the deep end. The induction is where, and Clodagh will mention it later on, is where you come in and we spend a whole day teaching you all about the hotel, what we offer you in the hotel, the training we offer you in the hotel, what we expect of you, how to greet guests, how to present yourself, how to act when there's a difficult situation. And all these are given to you on induction day, and you're trained on it. Likewise, when the TY, when you students come into the hotels, you won't be landed in pot washes, as we mentioned earlier on. We will put you with somebody, and we call it a mentor program. And we like to say, so here we'll introduce you to somebody, and we'll say, here's Tommy, and we'll introduce the TY student to Tommy, and Tommy will take them under their wing, and they'll put them working with them for the day. So explain everything to them and show them how it's done. Bring them to lunch, bring them to supper, whatever it is, so that you don't feel lost. And that's very important. I remember it happening to me, and I always said to new staff in the old days, was the first day working was the hardest day. It gets easier after that. So we try and alleviate that now and make the transition much easier for the students.
Well, you mentioned guests there. So let's talk a bit about some of the guests, some of the people that you've hosted at the Dunraven. And I know celebrities, royalty, your idols, everybody that has been to stay in the hotel, you would guard their privacy. You'd respect that. It's very important to them. But I'm just showing a couple of photographs here. First of all, you've mentioned Hugh, your business partner, Hugh, and yourself looking very regal there yourselves outside the front of the hotel. But down in the bottom right of the screen, you can see Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. You've hosted some very well-known faces over the years.
Absolutely. I always say if the one place where you want to meet celebs and famous people, etc., the hotel industry is a prime example of where you'll do that. That's Hugh with myself. We're both looking a bit younger there, I have to say. Hugh will be talking to you on Friday, and he's a post Shannon graduate as well. And he's the boss man here now in the hotel. And we're very lucky in that we've had the JP McManus Pro-Ams being held here at the hotel since 1990, and they're generally held every 5 years. And the photograph you see on the right with Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones is Hugh and myself, and that was during one of the Pro-Ams a few years ago, where we're very lucky in that we play host as well. Mr. McManus very kindly uses our hotel for his guests to stay here, and he has banquets here with us over the couple of days. So we've had the Tiger Woods, all the famous golfers in the world, and then all the celebs, and it's wonderful. We absolutely love it, and the staff love it, and all the students love it, because they get to meet their famous idols. And I'll give you one example I'll never forget. I think the student was daunted by it, but I remember showing Mr. Michael Smurfett was leaving, and I walked him to the front door, and I had a lovely young student from the village here who was acting as doorman, basically opening and closing the door as the guests and celebrities left. And Mr. Smurfett turned to the young student and just looked at him and said, "Never be afraid to fail," and said good night and walked out. And I said to the student, "Did you know who that was?" Had no idea. So I explained it was Mr. Michael Smurfett, and I gave him a little sort of help on what he was saying. And I said, "Go home and tell your mom and dad who you met and what he said to you, and it will stand to you forever." And that student was just so in awe of the fact that he had met Dr. Michael Smurfett.
Fantastic, just fabulous. And I want to just remind the students here today, if they've any questions, to put them into the chat, that we'll be finishing up with Louie now in a minute before we move on to Clodagh and Yolanda. So do please take the opportunity to get your teacher to either put the question in the chat or else put it in yourself, and I'll put it to Louie before we move on. So whenever if somebody wants to come and work in the Dunraven on a part-time basis, Louie, and you talked about the Pro-Am there, which is back in Adare next year. So you're going to be you'll be flat out busy. And then the year after that, 2027, I think it is now, we have the Ryder Cup coming to West Limerick. And I'm sure if there's any golf fans on the call today, that they'd be very excited about that. And no better time now to get your foot in the door to an establishment like yourself, because you probably will be, you take on extra staff for those occasions because you'd be so busy. So if a student now is thinking, yeah, I'd love to get a part-time job, what's the next step? What's the best thing for them to do in order to get their name down on the Dunraven list, let's say?
Well, the first thing I would say is to prepare a CV and send a CV to us, as obviously we're in COVID-19 lockdowns at the moment, so we can't interview people directly at the moment. But we don't know when we're going to be open yet. So I would prepare a CV and send it to us. And then we will go through the CVs. We'll see where we are. This year is a bit of a tough year because we don't know what the restrictions are going to be when we open. But from next year onwards, we'll be back to normal. And yes, the Pro-Am is here in July of next year, 2022. And the Ryder Cup is here in September in 27. So yes, if I was a TY student, or whether you like golf or not, I'd be setting my targets on 2027 and getting experience and getting into hotels. And we always feel loyalty that students who come and work with us and that enjoy it and work out and want to work with us, we will always endeavour to give them work when they make themselves available. And yes, 2027 is going to be a very exciting time for Limerick, for Adare and for Limerick.
Absolutely. And we have a question in the chat, and it says, how long does it take to train a new member of staff?
We're always training and we're always learning. I'm 31 years here now and I'm still learning, and I learn every day, and that's a key aspect, and it's very important. Anybody that thinks they know it all, this is not the business. We all learn every single day, because I had in my notes for our conversation, I always say no 2 days in the hotel business are the same. Every day is different, and that's what makes it so exciting. I love coming in. I don't get bored because you meet different people every single day of the week, and that's what's exciting about the business. But going forward, we hope that we'll get to some normality by the end of the summer. But certainly going forward, we'll have TY students back into us, physically back in next year, but get CVs together and send them in to us.
Fantastic. And if they go onto the website, they'll get the email address there and they can email them into you. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Louie, thanks a million. I'm not sure if you've anything that you want to add there before we move on to Yolanda and Clodagh. I think that's been fairly comprehensive, but if you think of anything towards the end, you might share it with us.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you.
Thanks a million. Okay, as I said before, do put the questions into the chat. That's what it's there for. And, you know, it's a great opportunity now to ask Yolanda and Clodagh questions. Two different roles in the hotel compared to Louie, who has explained himself that he started at the bottom and worked his way up, started at the pot wash. And today, now we're going to talk to Yolanda Pan and Clodagh McDonald. And Yolanda, just to come to you first, you're the head receptionist at the Dunraven.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I graduated from Shannon in 2017, and I've been in the Dunraven about 2 years now.
And you're from China, so you moved from China to Ireland to study at Shannon.
Yes, I did. So when I was 17, I decided to study abroad, and hospitality is just the thing I always want to do. So I start my research, and I always loved Europe. So Shannon has a good reputation about hospitality, so it's just my right choice to go.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say there about Shannon and its reputation, because now I don't have a hospitality background, but Shannon very much would have been on my radar as being the place to go to study hospitality, probably the most prestigious place in the whole of Ireland, maybe in the whole of Europe, maybe in the whole of the world. And if you are an alumni from there, it does take you all around the world, and people perk up whenever they see it on your CV, because they know that the training is so good there and is of such a high standard. You have done various different placements around Ireland, but you've been in the Dunraven now for 2 years, is it?
Yeah, about 2 years now.
So as the head receptionist, what does your day entail in normal times outside of a pandemic?
So it's very busy in the Dunraven. So as a reception manager here, outside of pandemic, we have loads of weddings, groups coming, and other guests. So reception is always busy in here, but that's why I love it, because you can meet people all over the world, talk to them and hear their stories. And it's just a very fascinating job to do.
And we talked a bit to Louie about the different skills that you need to work in hospitality. What specific skills can you highlight that are necessary in your job as head receptionist?
Yeah, of course. As I mentioned, there are a lot of communications happening in reception. So I think communication skill is the key of working in that industry, because excellent communication skills enhance the guest experience. And beside that, I say attention to details, because everything is judged by the customer. So everything needs to be of the highest standard to build our hotel rapport. And for example, you don't want to mess up with the wake-up call, just in case the gas may supply. So small things like can be very important. And another thing I would say is flexibility, because the majority of hospitality staff work shifts and also weekends and during holidays as well. So we need to be flexible with our personal plans. And also the guests have different needs, which need to be fulfilled by us. So we can meet the requirements of the varieties of guests. So you need to be a flexible mindset.
We were talking to Louie there about it being very daunting. The first day of any job is very daunting. Can you remind us about your first day in the Dunraven? Can you remember walking into the hotel for the first time?
Yeah, I do. I got a warm welcome from Mr. Murphy, and I got a chance to watch like how we talk to the guests in reception and how reception is operated. I also got a hotel orientation to see all the different room types, a lovely ballroom, leisure center, and the conference center. And I also stayed in one of our beautiful rooms that night and had breakfast in the morning. I miss our breakfast. It's just, oh gosh.
Yeah, I can imagine now that the kitchen team there with head chef Chris Starr and Jan would do a fantastic breakfast. And we look forward now tomorrow, just to let the students know that we're going to be hearing from the chef team tomorrow, and they're actually going to do a cookery demonstration for us. So we have that to look forward to. I'm going to move to you now for a minute, Clodagh. You are a graduate, and you're a graduate of Shannon, and you're a Dunraven intern, and you're from Mayo. So you were inspired to come from further up the country down to West Limerick to work, and to Shannon in County Clare to study. What was it that motivated you to apply to Shannon and go there to do your degree?
I suppose for me, I didn't really know exactly what it was I wanted to do all the way through secondary school, right up into TY. When I was in transition year, actually similar to what we're having now, except for it wasn't virtually, we had a lady, her name's actually Helena Doody. She was our previous marketing manager at Shannon. She came and she was talking about Shannon and the prospectus for it. And I think, she sold it to me, and that's really what influenced me. So the way she was talking about it, so you've your 100% employment on graduation day, I never had heard of that with any other college. The main thing then being all of the traveling opportunities for me. I knew I wanted to do business. I knew I wanted to keep my language on, but I just didn't know where I wanted to go to college. So, when I looked at Shannon, I remember speaking with my mother and saying, it has everything that I want to do. I want to do, I want to be doing practical experience, keeping my language. And, I want to see the world, which is the big thing for me. So when I looked at Shannon, like your first year, it's completely practical. You're in the restaurant, you're doing kitchen. So you're developing your culinary skills, you get to touch on accommodation, life skills. So you learn everything. And then your second year, for me, I spent my whole year in Germany working in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Wolfsburg in Germany. So it was a phenomenal experience. So, I suppose all of that coming into play, I'm glad it did influence me when she came to talk about it, because, I think it's such a difficult decision to actually decide where it is you're going to go to college, if you go to college, and it was definitely something like this now that influenced me.
Well, it's really interesting you say about the language, because a number of the students here today could be studying languages and hospitality. What a great industry to go into. But equally, the other career opportunities there in terms of accountancy, event management. Yolanda has talked about the ballroom there. Louie's talked about the dinners that are held on behalf of other organisations and other hoteliers in the region, the weddings that are there. So wedding planning, event management, operations. There are so many different careers that you can go into, and you're still studying at the moment. So what area do you see yourself going into, or are you still keeping an open mind about that?
I still have an open mind, because I feel like I do still have a lot of time. I'm kind of trying to get as much exposure in all of the different areas of the hotel as possible. But for me, I actually part of Shannon as well as the commerce course. So I actually spent my final year in NUI Galway, where I specialised in HR. So that's always an area I think I'm going to keep close to heart, and maybe see myself going back doing a master's, getting some exposure in that area. So I suppose HR at the moment would be one I'm kind of leaning towards. But since I started working in the Dunraven as well, I've really been touched on the operations side of things. So like Louie and Yolanda were saying, I've had a lot of exposure to the wedding side of things. Now, unfortunately, it has just been the smaller weddings at the moment with the pandemic. So I think, you know, when I see a small bit more what the events are like when they get on a larger scale here at the Dunraven, I think, you know, that could have a bit of influence on my decision as well when the time comes.
Yeah, because you have so many different choices, it must be a bit overwhelming at times.
Absolutely, yeah. Even at the moment, you know, when we were opened, I was working in the bar, I was doing some restaurant work, helping out at reception and weddings. So it was really, you know, it's fantastic to actually get that opportunity to do everything, because it kind of allows you then to narrow down. I wouldn't say it's daunting in any way. Like, you know, I still find myself coming in wanting to know more. So at the moment we're closed, so I'm doing a lot of reservations, really like learning as much as possible there. So, you know, it's just the opportunities are really, really endless when it comes to working in the hotel industry. You know, it's not just waitressing, you know, working in kitchens. I think that's what people kind of maybe get mistaken by sometimes. There's just so many more opportunities out there. Like there's events, there's everything you can think of. There's HR. If you want to do accounts, we have a financial controller. So yeah, just endless opportunities really.
The placement side of thing, I'm going to come back to you now, Yolanda, to ask you about placements. I think whenever we know what we want to do in life, or we know I want to be a doctor, a pharmacist, whatever the job is, I want to work in hospitality, it's really important to get experience in the best places possible that you can get that experience in. So in terms of placement opportunities, whenever you're studying at Shannon, just tell me a bit about the options there and the choices that you made surrounding that.
Yeah, of course. Because English is my second language, so I did my 2 years placement in Dublin, which was good because I got a chance to explore Dublin. And during the 2 years, on my first year placement, I went through all the departments, just like Clodagh. I went through reception, bar, restaurant, kitchen, a bit of HR as well, which was a fantastic experience. So on my second year, on my last year placement, I realized that reception is the place I want to go. So I got my placement in the Radisson Blu Hotel St. Helens in Dublin, which was fantastic. I stayed in there for a year. It's a lovely 5-star hotel. And I also got a chance to spend 3 months in Seychelles as my summer placement on my third year, which was fantastic because we did a lot of sightseeing over there. And I was so lucky. I stayed in one of the hotel rooms with the sea view, so it's just fantastic. And all my colleagues are lovely there. And the accommodation staff, they just clean my room every day and fold those elephant and swole towels on my bed. They don't have to do that, but they did that for me. It's just fantastic. And other of my classmates, they also got placement around that area. So what we normally do is when we have day off, we just rent a car and just drive around and just have barbecue on the beach. So many different things to do. And I also got my diving certification in there as well. So we just got so lucky. And I got connection with one of the Shannon graduates who was working there as the guest relationship manager in the Maya Hotel, which is a top private resort. And he offered me a free tour to the resort. And I had an opportunity with him in there and got the free treatment as well. So that's the benefit of as a Shannon family member here.
I'd say many's an ear pricked up there whenever you mentioned the Seychelles. Mine certainly did. A fantastic place to go to. I can only imagine now, I haven't been there. But and you're talking about being connected to other graduates. There's no country in the world, I'd say, that there isn't a Shannon graduate in to go and
they say you always find someone from Shannon College in the hotel industry, which is true.
Okay. We've a question in the chat, and Clodagh, you might answer it first, and then Yolanda, you can pop in. So is it better to study a language for leaving cert when applying for a job in hotel management?
No, like if a language is something you don't do, I don't think you should, limit yourself to not being able to work in the hospitality industry. Some of the best hotels in the world are in Ireland, are in the UK, are in the USA, like where they're all English speaking. And part of the program at Shannon is you can actually do intercultural studies if you don't have a language. So your placement would be usually generally for second year be based in London, and then for your final year you have more flexibility. So definitely wouldn't say, limit yourself. Now, if you do, want to get the real European experience and you do have your language, I do encourage you to keep it up. It's a great skill to have. I did German, and I have most of my friends did French, and the European experience with placement is phenomenal. Like it is a bit nerve-wracking going on the placement. When I moved over to Germany first, I would say, like, we did study it in our first year in college, but it was still nerve-wracking, but you learn so much. And I have so many friends, that have came back fluent, and me myself, I'm very confident in speaking German now. Need to actually keep it up a small bit more, but yeah, no, I definitely would encourage you, if you have it and you're doing it for the Leaving Cert, stick with it. It's a great skill to have, but if you don't worry.
I absolutely agree. And Yolanda, how important have you found having a language in your job?
Oh, yeah, for me, of course, I always want to be fluent in English. So it's my second language. I'm glad I choose that language. It's just very important because I still remember 10 years ago, I set my foot in Ireland, like didn't know anyone, didn't understand Dublin accent until today. I settled in Limerick, has a career and started family. So that's all because I have another language. So I think, yeah, do keep it up. It's just fantastic to can speak another language.
Another thing that's just struck me there about, whenever you're talking about staying in all these fabulous hotels and having all the different opportunities to travel, is a hotel like the Dunraven, a guest coming in goes into their room and they stay in their room and back out again. But as members of the team there, I think you had mentioned to me before the call, Clodagh, about getting a tour of the hotel, and Louie mentioned there's actually 90 rooms, I think Louie said, in the hotel. I mean, I would just love to see every single room. I'm such a nosy neb like that, to see the suites and the bridal suite. And this is where Princess Anne stayed whenever she was there, or her daughter, Sarah Phillips. So it must, and because it's a hotel of character and historic value, that all the rooms aren't the same, they're all different, they're all individually decorated. It must be quite satisfying for a nosy person like myself to see that.
Absolutely. I think I'm the exact same as you. I find myself, now that we're close, going around sometimes just having a look in the rooms, because they're all so uniquely designed. So we have the old part of the building and the new part. So there's constantly refurbishments going on throughout the hotel. So, seeing the changes that have been made, already since I started in September, it's phenomenal. But yeah, the rooms are also different. So like we have our luxury double rooms, which are our standard rooms, but when you go into them, they're all uniquely designed. So it's, it's really lovely to see. And then when you go into our bridal suite, it just has a massive, window with 2 bathtubs overlooking the garden. So, I suppose the attention to detail that goes into each and every room is just really great to see. And it's the same in, any hotel you work in across the world, just how they design the rooms. And some are modern, some are more old fashioned, but, no 2 rooms are the same in this hotel anyways, for sure.
Fabulous. Well, you're going to go off in a minute to get ready to do your mocktail demonstration. But before you do, I want to ask both of you one at a time, for any of the students listening at the moment that are considering a career, what's the best piece of advice that you could give to them? Yeah.
My advice would be, go out now and get the experience while you can. You have the time in transition year to really develop on your skills. See if it's something you like. Don't be afraid to go to a hotel and ask for a week's experience when they reopen. They'll be more than happy, to help you to see if this is the path that you want to take. And yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. You learn so much by asking. Yeah, that would be my main bit of advice for students.
And what about you, Yolanda?
Yeah, I'd say just be open-minded, and just like Clodagh said, go out, ask for opportunities and just make the most of it. And I'd say just step out from your comfortable zone, just push yourself even just a little bit. You don't have to do what I did, like study abroad, but you will be so grateful like you did that. And also just be happy about what you're doing. At the end of the day, it's important to find a career like you love.
That's such great advice.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do say that whenever you're in a career that you love or a job that you love, that you're not working every day. It's just a great day of living life to the full. So that's a brilliant piece of advice to end on before you go off to get ready for the mocktail demonstration. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring Louie back in, because we have a competition, or you have a competition, Louie, that you're going to tell everybody about.
Yes, so in line with the hospitality theme, the competition is to come up with a slogan or a strapline. This is for you, the transition year students. And this strapline will encourage people to visit or staycation in Limerick City and County. We want the students to think about everything Limerick has to offer the visitor and how they can best embody this in a slogan. So we are running this initiative over 2 weeks with different schools each week. Therefore, we will have one winner per week with a fabulous prize of €100 Crescent Shopping Centre gift card sponsored by ourselves and Shannon College. So behind this, more importantly, is alongside the prize will be exposure given to the 2 winners by Limerick.ie. The winning slogans will each be incorporated on an image of Limerick and will be given a week as the cover photo on Limerick.ie. Facebook has 30,000 followers, Twitter has 19. And maybe even some promo on their website. Okay, so the image will explain that it was created by a student, and Limerick.ie will promote the initiative. It's a wonderful opportunity for you, the students. Put your creativity to use and you will see real-time results for this. Laura then will judge the winning slogan, and they'll be arranged for a photo shoot with Laura with the 2 winners, and this will be on Limerick.ie. So all you, the students, have to do is come up with a slogan, and Limerick.ie will do the rest. And it's a bit of fun, but it's a great opportunity for you. And it's a nice little prize at the end of it.
I couldn't agree more with you about what a great opportunity it is, Louie. Like, whoever wins this will be able to put this on their CV. So
absolutely,
if marketing is something that you're interested in getting into, you could do that within the hospitality industry or any other industry. So to have that on your CV would be fantastic, and not easy to come up with. You've had a few entries already, so the teachers have been sent the details. So it's great that, you know, some people have been inspired already and have entered. And the slogan that I always think of whenever it comes to our region is one from the north, where I'm from originally, the embrace a giant spirit, because of course the Giant's Causeway is up there. Whoever came up with that certainly earned their pay packet that week. But what we'll do now is I will share my screen, because Laura Ryan in Limerick.ie, who is the head of communications and marketing, sent us this video. So if you have a look at this, just to see what she has to say.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Ryan and I'm Head of Marketing and Communications at Limerick City and County Council. Now my job is to promote Limerick and to tell everyone both here at home and internationally what a great city and county that we have. And we do that through Limerick.ie, our digital platform, and our channels, our social media channels across Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. So we also run marketing campaigns to showcase Limerick, and we write stories for the media, for newspapers and websites to use about great things that take place in Limerick. So this year, unfortunately, due to COVID, we're not going to have any international tourists, most likely, and due to the ongoing travel restrictions around the coronavirus. So what we have to do is we have to concentrate on attracting people who live in Ireland to come to Limerick for their summer break. What we're trying to do essentially is to put Limerick in people's minds. So at the moment, there seems to be many people who are kind of adopting a wait and see approach to booking their holidays, as there's still so much uncertainty around about when we can leave our county or when we can travel at all. And people are really waiting to book their holidays until there's a little bit of more clarity about that. So we're not really allowed to do much promotion around Limerick, as the government wants us to ensure people to stay safe and to stay at home. But summer is coming, and what we need you to do is to put your thinking caps on to ensure that people start thinking about Limerick when they get around to booking their summer break. So firstly, if you're looking for some inspo about why to visit Limerick, I would encourage you to firstly look at our official Limerick website, limerick.ie. And if you go onto the homepage and you click on the Discover button there, you'll find a wealth of reasons about why Limerick is great for a summer break. So if we were to focus, for example, on the city first, there's a huge amount of accommodation available in Limerick. We have some amazing hotels. They're perfect for families who want to have a city break, lots of big rooms, lots of swimming pools. And they could visit King John's Castle, families could walk the Three Bridges, they could book some kayaking on the River Shannon, or they could eat in some of our lovely Limerick restaurants. So there's a huge amount of things that you can do in the city, and it doesn't really matter what the weather is like, because there's always something to do. And we do know that in Limerick, it's going to rain, so you're going to have to pack your raincoat. Then in County Limerick, our new Greenway is opening in June. So that means we'll have 40 kilometres of Greenway to walk, to run, to cycle, as well, with lots to explore on the way in Adare, in Rathkeil and Newcastle West. So it really is a great day out. There's massive amount of history and heritage in Limerick, with loads of lovely places to visit, especially this year as everybody wants to be out and about. So there's loads of lovely walks to explore and places to bike ride. One of my favourite places to bike ride in Limerick is Ballyhara, and it's so beautiful, but it's not in my 5K. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and going for a cycle. And a big, really huge part of me is looking forward to the Limerick Greenway, and that's going to be fantastic. So as I said, that's opening in June. Secondly, we did launch a new brand for Limerick last year called Limerick Atlantic Edge European Embrace. And this is all about the warm, friendly embrace and welcome that you get in Limerick. So it points to our location on the West Coast as the gateway to the Wild Atlantic Way. And we know that many people will want to go to the seaside, will want to go to Kerry on their holidays this year, but we want them to stop in Limerick on the way. We want them to have perhaps a short break in our city, or to stop in Adare or Newcastle West and discover all that Limerick has to offer. So there's an opportunity there as well to try and reach those people. And don't forget Limerick's food scene. We have wonderful markets in the city, like the Milk Market, and lots of lovely outdoor farmers markets in the county. Lovely restaurants, great foodie trails as well. And we have, pork associated with the city, and we have some wonderful produce in West Limerick and the West Limerick Food Group, who are really, really strong with all that lovely produce from the Golden Vale. So you really have loads of things to choose from. In a way, we're spoilt in Limerick because there are so many great reasons why Limerick is a great place to visit for your summer holidays. So if you can use words like embrace, or in words like edge in your slogan, you will reflect the wider Limerick messaging as well. That's from our brand that we launched last year. And you can find more information on that on limerick.ie as well. Or if you just want to put our brand Limerick into a Google search, it will pop up for you. So best of luck. I can't wait to see all your entries. I think there's lots of definitely lots of inspiration on limerick.ie. So I look forward to seeing them, and we'll chat to you soon. Take care.
So a great video from Laura there, Louie. I think it's given great inspiration to the students. So we look forward to seeing their entries.
We all look forward to it. Laura's a wonderful lady. They do a great job for Limerick, and yes, go onto the website, as she says, and you'll get inspiration from that. But we have some in that are looking very good, so there's a lot of competition for you all.
Great. Well, look, in the meantime, we're hoping to inspire you with a mocktail. And you can see Clodagh is on the screen now. She's all lined up in her demo kitchen there. Tell us about the mocktail, I have to keep saying mocktail, that you're going to make for us today, Clodagh.
Lovely. So today we're going to be making a strawberry and blueberry mojito. So it's a non-alcoholic version of a mojito. So I just have all of my ingredients lined up here. So this is what you'll need. So we have some fresh mint that we picked in the Dunraven gardens. We have some homegrown strawberries, some blueberries, some fresh limes, and then we just have some brown sugar. And then just for the drink that goes on top, we have either soda water or some white lemonade.
And I see various bits and pieces of equipment there. So just explain what you have in front of you.
Lovely. So I just have a tongs here just for handling the fruit, just so we're not over handling it with our fingers. And then this here is a muddler. So it's just to muddle the fruit in the bottom of the glass. So if you don't have any of these ingredients at home, what you can also use to kind of mush up the fruits is you can do it with a fork, or you could do it with a blender or a whisk, you know, whatever you have handy at home.
Well, look, take it away there, Clodagh, and just talk us through everything that we need to do. It looks like a very quick and easy mocktail to make.
It is indeed. So it's a lovely one. So if you don't have actually any strawberries or blueberries at home, you can use some raspberries and blackberries. That's no problem. So just to start, what you're doing is you're just going to add some of your strawberries into the glass. So I'm just going to use 3 strawberries. Just going to put a small few blueberries in. So it's one of the great things that we do in Shannon. So part of our training in the restaurant, we're actually doing cocktail training. So Mr. Langford, who's one of our food lecturers in food and beverage, he goes through a range of different cocktails. So it's a really great learning experience if you don't have any experience with making cocktails. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to muddle up the fruit. So you don't want to over muddle it, but you just want to get, you know, all of the nice flavors out of the strawberries and the blueberries. So once it begins to turn to kind of like a syrup, you'll know it's ready. This is an absolutely lovely and refreshing cocktail to enjoy on a day like today. Something I think all of your parents would enjoy as well. And it's non-alcoholic. So if you do have anyone that's pregnant, it's a perfect cocktail for them. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to add some of my ice into my glass. You don't need too much ice. And then I'm going to use some white lemonade. I just find it's a small bit sweeter. So it's a lovely one to add in. So you're just going to top it up then with some white lemonade. Yeah.
And it's as easy as that.
Yeah. So just give it a small whisk then with your stir, just to mix all the fruits and get the lovely flavors throughout the glass. So I'm just going to pop a straw in here as well then for you. And then finally, just to garnish, I'm going to use a fresh lime. And then I'm going to use some of our fresh mint that I have here as well.
It looks absolutely fabulous. And of course, the sun is shining where I am today in Newcastle West. So I know a couple of the schools are from Newcastle West. I hope it's shining in Adare and in Limerick where the other schools are. So I think you've one word you want to say to us, Clodagh?
Yeah, absolutely. Sláinte.
Sláinte. Enjoy that. It looks amazing.
Enjoy.
So look, that's kind of bringing us to the end of our hour. If any of the students have a final question that they want to put, we probably do have time for one more question if you want to get your teacher to put it into the chat, or if you're not in the classroom with the teacher, if you want to put it into the chat as well, you're very welcome to do that, and we might be able just to add that or to answer that final question before we finish up. And while you're thinking of that question, just to let you know that tomorrow, as I said, we're going to be talking to the kitchen team. We're going to have the head chef Chris Starr and Jan Bina, who is from the Czech Republic. So we'll get an insight into what training the two of them have undertaken in order to end up in their positions, and we can find out a bit more about how it's maybe different in the Czech Republic compared to Ireland. And we'll just remind you about the competition. Do get your entries in for that. Great opportunity, a great prize. And oh yeah, the final question now, this is for you, Louie. Is the pay good?
The pay is very good.
And I'd say the tips could be very good as well.
Absolutely. The better you are, the better the tips are. So I always say if you're warm, friendly and smiley and give a great reception, the tips are superb. But yes, in our industry, the pay is so much better than what it was in the old days. The conditions, the hours, all that. The old days are gone. It's a wonderful industry to partake in now.
Yeah, well, I think that's a perfect question to end on. That's all they need to know. The perks are great, the pay is good. What more would you like to have in your life? So look, thanks to everybody that's here today, to all the students, to all the teachers, to Sarah in Shannon College of Hotel Management, and then to our participants, Louie Murphy, Clodagh, McDonald and Yolanda Pan. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as I have. I hope you've been inspired, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks a million.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.